Hey everyone, so I want to walk you through something and I'm not going to hold anything back. This is the full breakdown, a step by step of how to build what I call a second brain for your team. Real quick, why am I even making this? Two reasons. One, I just love figuring out stuff like this, and it's genuinely my passion. Number two, if you don't need my help with this specific project, that's totally fine. Maybe there's something in your business that I can help you down the road. Either way, this is a free gift, and I hope you enjoy this video. So here's the problem. Every day, your team asks you the same questions. You're the one everyone comes to for an answer, and there's only one of you. And here's the part that actually stings. Most of those questions you've already answered before, probably more than once. But every time, you're starting from scratch because nothing you said last time actually got saved anywhere. This is where a second brain or a knowledge base comes in. And here's what I mean. Imagine every answer you've ever given your team just got written down automatically, organized and saved in one place. Not in your head, not scattered in old texts or emails you'll never find again. One place where anyone on your team could search and instantly find exactly what you'd tell them. That's the whole idea. It's basically a copy of your knowledge living outside of your head that your team can actually use. Now, here's why that matters more than it might sound like at first. Think about it like this. If you got sick for a month or went on a vacation or just couldn't answer your phone for a day, how much would your team be stuck? Right now, all of that knowledge lives in exactly one place, your head. And that's risky, even if it doesn't feel risky day to day. A second brain means your answers don't disappear when you're not around. New people ramp up faster because they're not waiting on you to repeat yourself for the 100th time. And your business stops being fragile. It doesn't fall apart if you're not the one holding it together. There's one more reason this matters, and it's a big one. If you're already using AI in your business, and a lot of people are these days, but you don't have a knowledge base behind it, you're basically scaling with chaos. And here's why. AI is only good as what it actually knows. If it doesn't know your business, your answers, your way of doing things, then it's just guessing. So you end up growing faster, sure, but on a shaky foundation. A knowledge base is what actually makes AI useful for your business, instead of just a fancy guessing machine. And this isn't just a nice to have, it's the foundation everything else gets built on. So if any of that sounds like something you want, then stick with me. Here's exactly how you'd build it. And the good news is, the fix is actually simple. Here's the order this happens in. First, it needs somewhere to live. Then, you turn something what you already have into something that's searchable. And finally, your team needs an easy way to ask it questions. But before I even get into the tools, I want to show you why this matters, because there's an actual research on this, and it's not just my opinion. There's a well-known study from IDC, a major research firm, and here's what they found. The average knowledge worker spends about 2.5 hours a day, roughly 30% of their entire workday, just searching for information they need to do their job. Not doing the work, just searching for it. That's basically 1.5 days out of every work week gone, just hunting for an answer that already exists somewhere. And I'll drop the actual study in the description if you want to read it yourself. It's worth seeing the real numbers. So here's a question worth asking yourself. Let's say you've already got like a training site or dozens of videos, maybe hundreds of hours of content. All of your SOPs are written down somewhere too. Well, that's a great start. But here's the real question. Can your team actually get an answer out of it? If someone has a question right now, can they type it in and get a straight answer back? Or do they have to dig through an 8-hour video hoping they'll land on the right 5 minutes? That's the difference between having information and having a knowledge base. Information just sits there. A knowledge base gets asked a question and gives you an answer back. So step one is making sure whatever you use is actually built for that. I use a tool called Obsidian for this. Picture a big filing cabinet, except instead of organizing it by hand, it organizes itself. It stores everything as simple text files which means you actually own your own data. It is not locked inside someone else's app. Some people use Notion instead, which is more of a shared cloud workspace. Your information lives on their servers instead of yours. Either one works. It really just comes down whether you want full ownership or something more familiar to set up. That's it for this step. Just know Obsidian is where everything lives. Now that you know where it lives, let's talk about how you actually get your existing stuff into it. Because here's the thing. Obsidian doesn't just take a video file or a PDF and magically understands it. It works with something called a markdown file, which is really just a simple text file. So the real question is, how do you turn an old training video or a written SOP into one of those? If it's already a document like a written SOP, that part is easy. You fit into an AI, I use Claude for this, and it reads through it and turns it into a clean, organized markdown file, and then you can save this inside Obsidian. If it's a video, you can't feed Claude the video directly, so what you actually need to do first is the transcript, just the text of everything said in that video. Once you have that, it's the same process. Claude reads the transcript, pulls out what actually matters, and turns it into the same kind of markdown file. So think of it like this, an 8-hour training video sitting there, nobody's watching it end to end, to find one answer. Once it's transcribed and turned into a markdown file, it becomes actual searchable knowledge instead of just footage in your cloud. That's the whole shift right here. So now, once you've got your existing material converted, here's the question worth thinking about. How can the brain keep growing after the initial upload? Because your team is asking you questions every single day, and honestly, there's a huge opportunity right here. Imagine if every time someone called you or texted you a question, you just answered like you normally would, and that answer got logged into the knowledge base automatically with zero extra effort on your end. I've actually got a whole system built out for exactly that, but that's a big enough topic that it deserves its own video. So if that is something you'd want me to break down next, then hit like, drop a comment, or just send me a message, and I'll know to make a video for that. Last step is giving your team a simple way to actually ask it questions. So I would set this up inside Slack since most teams are already living in Slack all day anyway, so there's nothing new to learn. Here's roughly how it comes together. Inside Slack, you create what's called an app. Think of it as a new team member you're building from scratch. That app gets its own name and its own icon, and it shows up in Slack just like any other coworker your team could message. Once that app exists, you connect it to an AI, and I use Claude. So now that app isn't just sitting there. It can actually think and respond. And then that same AI gets connected to the knowledge base we built in the last 2 steps. So it's not just answering off the top of its head, it's actually searching through everything stored in there first. So here's what it looks like for your team. Someone opens Slack, messages this new agent directly, just like they'd message you or a coworker, and ask their question in plain language. Behind the scenes, the agent searches the knowledge base for a similar situation, pulls the closest match, and answers right there in chat. Now, here's the pro move. If you really want to take this further, if a team member asks a question and the agent doesn't know the answer, instead of it just saying, I don't know, go call your team leader, it can actually pull everyone into one conversation automatically. It can create a group chat right there in Slack with the agent, the team member who asked, and you or a senior team leader, and it reiterates the exact question for you. So you're not just starting from scratch, trying to figure out what they need. Whatever you answer in that group chat gets added straight into the knowledge base. So instead of a dead end, every question the bot can't answer becomes the exact moment the knowledge base grows. The gaps basically fix themselves in front of everyone in real time. So guys, I'll be honest with you, Slack doesn't hand you this out of the box. It takes real custom logic behind the scenes. The bot has to know when it's not confident, and it will pull the right people in automatically, and then take your answer and actually save it back into the knowledge base. It's absolutely doable, but it's a build. It's not a checkbox. So here's one thing that really matters. No matter how you build this knowledge base, not every answer should be treated the same. Coaching advice, sales tips, how to handle a tough client, that stuff can just flow into the system automatically. It's safe. But anything legal, anything about rules or compliance should always be checked by a real person first before the system trusts it. That's the difference between this being genuinely helpful and this becoming a real problem. And I have to be honest with you, this isn't something that you throw together in a weekend. You can find little tutorials online just like this one, sure, but getting it set up the right way so it's actually useful and not just a giant pile of transcripts, that takes real time and real thought. Anyone telling you that this is quick and easy is not telling you the truth. It took me a couple of months just to set up my own second brain because I wanted to function a certain way. So, guys, that's the whole thing from start to finish. I know we can dive in deeper to actually how to do it, but if you want a more step by step, or if you want me to break down any of the steps in detail, then just let me know so I can make that video for you. But if someone on your team can build this, then honestly, just send them this video, then they should know how to do it. Or if you would rather have me help you build something like this for your business, just let me know and we can get that started for you. Either way, I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you on the next one.